I think the underline here is man. I think she needs a man.
She's a man.
Like,
yeah.
And listen to the people
But
who
I
are
think
listening.
I say
Like, your age
black.
doesn't define you or make you a man.
Welcome, guys, to Woke and Pretty. It's Mira and Min here, and we are doing something really special. You'll be hearing from us every single day now. Just kidding. Monday to Friday, we're going to try to come at you. Hopefully, you can enjoy it in the morning on your commute or just during your coffee break or something like that. We keep it light, we keep it fun. And of course, feel free to follow us on our social media on Instagram and TikTok. And of course, please subscribe and follow our podcast wherever you stream your favorite podcast. And of course, on YouTube, guys, you can see us, physically see us, because we're gorgeous. Yes. So you want to see that. So head over to YouTube
We're
to our
so
channel.
We're gorgeous.
We are gorgeous in the morning because we
Mira
woke up.
Always looks good in the morning. I come on sometimes and I'm like, I had stuff to do and I haven't gotten out of bed until 5 minutes ago.
You know what's funny? I don't look good in the morning. I come to record with you, Min, because I look forward to it. I genuinely enjoy our interaction. I am running back from the gym. I am all sweat, glowy glaze the only thing I do is make sure my hair is not like all crazy. And that's what I'm still stank and gross, but this is a podcast and it's all good. So you don't got to smell me. You don't got to.
All we need to see is your beautiful post-workout glow.
That's every day. Not today, though. Girl did not go today, but every day. That's what you see when you look on the YouTube channel. Okay. But anyway, let's get right into it. My favorite thing about this week, my everything, it made me change my habits yesterday, is NSync, because they are back.
They're about to drop a new album.
A new single.
The new single.
It's a new single. I peeped a couple parts of it already because I wanted to make sure. Of course, TikTok already had it leaked a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course.
But if you don't know, first of all, I walked into my kids' daycare today, and in the classroom they were playing music. They're like, "Oh yeah, we play music sometimes." I'm like, "You're not just playing music; you're playing NSync, and it's their first single." And it made me so happy today. So I was like, "Yeah, let's get at it." So I'm happy to talk about NSync. They reunited at the Video Music Awards, the MTV Video Music Awards, which I did not even know they still had. Glad they have it. I know. So they got on stage, they were introduced, and they got on stage. I think everyone's jaw dropped because it did include Justin Timberlake, who of course is the biggest breakout star out of the group, and JC Chavez, who I think mostly does Europe and stuff, but he is like MIA. You see the other members every once in a while, and Justin's been in the media, but JC has not really been active except for his own music. And I think it's more popular abroad. But they came out and they gave an award to Miss Taylor Swift, who fangirled, and it made news because she clearly is an NSYNC fan. She was shocked just like you and I were. And she accepted her awards and her friendship bracelets from them and basically put them on the spot and asked what everybody wanted that asked them, which is, what are you guys doing now? You must be doing something because you're together. Tell us. She literally opened up with that. And I was just like, I'm here for it. Yeah. What is it? And of course they can't. Yeah. Of course they can't, Min. But because of the writer's strike that we talked about last week, the Trolls movie that's coming out, it's about, I don't know if Trolls, have you seen the Troll movies?
I've seen, no, actually, I can't even, I've seen ads, but I literally, when I saw the ad for the new Troll movie, I literally thought of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. I'm just going to say this, if they tour together, like I'm coming down to see you.
First of all,
make a week of it.
I already have a plan. Okay.
Can I join in on the plan?
Yes, because we realize within my friends and all the people that want to jump on the bandwagon, we can't get tickets for everybody, but we can get a suite and we will pay sweet money.
Yes. I'm down for sweet money. I will totally, here's my credit card.
We're literally never going to have a problem filling a suite. It's 12 people. Plus you have the standing 6 because I used to be into suite life all the time. You order your food, your drink, and you have a party in that suite.
You're be a really big famous girl. Sweet life.
No, I just took out
sweet life. She still has a sweet life. It just sounds with a child.
My sweet life, when I started working in media and I started with the sweet life, I worked at Disney ABC and I used to take clients out to the Knicks games. We had an MSG suite. We had a Madison Square Garden suite. And then as my career went on, we always had a suite in different companies, whether it was at Barclays Center in Brooklyn or Madison Square Garden. So I would just take clients to concerts and basketballs, and I would order food and drink and put it on a card. And of course it's expensive, but clients loved it because they got to be where they wanted to be. And back in those days, Madison Square Garden suites were a little higher up. Now they're closer down, so it's a better viewpoint. So it's pretty lush. I'm going to assume they would play Madison Square Garden or maybe the stadium in Jersey.
I definitely believe it'd be Madison Square Garden.
I mean, if it's the stadium, if it's the stadium where the Jets and the Giants play, I've been in that suite a million times. We've also had suites there. Yeah, we've also had suites there. So either way, it's going to be a sweet life because we need that tickets, ma'am.
Oh yeah.
So I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing too is like Ticketmaster. If you mess this up for us, the world is coming down.
Here's the thing about the sweet life: you don't go through Ticketmaster. You call those suckers directly. There is direct contacts, and you could do it per night. Or if you are if you are people who pay, my companies used to pay to have it all the time, where they would do a share. You could have it for every single event, or you do a share with another company. So let's say your company, Min, and my company shared it. You would have half of the events, and I would have the other half. So it would alternate weekends. So whatever events fall into those weekends is what we have.
Perfect. Girl, I'm down.
Anyway, that's the plan, girl. I already got the plan for NSYNC. But I don't think they're going to go on tour, to be honest. I think they're going to release that single. I think that's the only thing they could do to promote, because they can't really promote movies and TV shows or anything because of the writer's strike. So I think they're promoting the song. They also went on Instagram and they had a video with the Friends voiceover about them. Do you know? I know, but do you know? You know, and they did that whole thing, and I was here for it. I don't care. I'm here for every little crumb they will drop.
Yeah, me too.
And I love that Justin Timberlake is back in this, because I know he was never opposed to it per se, or so he says. But I think he's had a little bit of, he's super successful as a single artist. Obviously, I love Justin Timberlake.
He's had a lot of controversy around him, especially
in the past like 5 years. In the past 5 years, it started off with the Janet, then the Britney.
Oh yeah, the Janet.
His lack of accountability for both situations. And then obviously the Detroit movies, and he had a couple hits there, single hits, but he did the Man of the Woods album. I know it sold well. I know he did well. He did a tour, but was it as popular as his other ones? No, definitely not. I cannot even name a song from that. And it's even the people who are diehard fans are saying it was good, but it's not. Listen, when you are high up like this, it is hard to continue to be at that high. He still is better. That album did better than most artists can ever dream of, but it just,
there's just, man, back in the day, he was my favorite.
I will never forget those baby blue, extra wide leg,
curly hair.
Oh, so cute on the Disney stage. I will never forget that in my little apartment in Brooklyn. I was walking out and my sister had it on, and they came on, and it was their first ever introduction or performance in the US. And I walked by it and I stopped and literally turned and just stood there in awe and watched it. It blew my mind. But also, when I was in high school, guys, don't judge me, but I went to a high school of fashion industries in Manhattan. It's affiliated with FIT. They are our sister school. So I was in the middle of Manhattan, and I had a friend, and she went every summer to Austria and would bring back all these magazines. It's called Bravo magazine. And she would bring it back when she came back, and she would share it with me. And the celebrities were different there. And NSYNC was already popular in Europe. So I knew who they were, but I didn't know them. But they weren't unfamiliar to me. Obviously the music was new, but I just my jaw dropped, and I was like, that session started in that moment. I don't know what it was about that moment.
Well, Europe is a good like test market for music and
but when they performed on that Disney stage and they put it on TV, I think Backstreet Boys was supposed to perform and they didn't.
Oh.
For whatever reason. We all know the story now. If you don't know, you're going to get a little thing. Their producer or the person that founded that group also founded Backstreet Boys, and I think he pitted them against each other.
Oh, yeah.
Ron Perlman, I think his name was, and they ended up suing him, and it was like a whole thing.
Well, one of them broke free from him, right? They broke free from him. Who I don't remember.
It was NSYNC. They sued him, and their second album, I think it was, they had to delay it, and they had to delay it because it was a second
No
album.
Strings Attached.
I think it was No Strings Attached. They had to delay it because of the legal situation. Again, this is me and Min not looking shit up. We don't. Literally, we're speculating.
We were babies when this all happened. Either way, I'm so excited that this is going down. Can I do a segue about TayTay?
Yeah.
Since we talked about. Okay, so one of my favorite, and I say favorite, like I know NFL at all. One of my favorite NFL players, Travis Kelce, who plays for the Chiefs, which, by the way, Kansas, you need a name change. He went to a TayTay concert, and he tried to give her a bracelet with his phone number on it that apparently she never got. But
Wait a
rumors
minute.
have surfaced.
Wait a minute. I didn't realize that's how we tried to give the number first. I know she didn't. Wait a minute. Because when NSYNC gave her award, they all gave her bracelets.
Yeah, was it just their names or whatever? Or was it like,
I don't know, but does it matter? Was that like a nod to that situation?
yeah, so everybody, oh, you didn't know this? So at
No.
all of the Eras tour, not only are people dressing up, but they're exchanging friendship bracelets.
That is adorable. Of course, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry,
Everybody's
Taylor.
exchanging massive friendship bracelets. A
Gave
bunch
her
of
friendship bracelets. That's so cute.
He made her a friendship bracelet with his phone number on it, which I thought was freaking adorable because I was like, talk about a man who, if he wanted to, he would. He made her a friendship bracelet with his phone number on it, but never got the chance to give it to her. But apparently rumors have surfaced now that they have been hanging out. And she's off on the Eras tour right now. She doesn't go back. She took a little break. She goes back in November, and he's playing. He's not playing. He's hurt. He's still practicing, and he's still an active, because he's part of the 53-man roster for Kansas City. What if she's hanging out in Kansas City and they're hanging out together?
I feel they are hanging out.
They would be so cute. I mean, a part of me is
first
a
of
jelly,
all,
but
Kelce,
so cute.
What's his name?
You don't
Kelce?
like him?
No, okay. I only know him because he had this show a long time ago where it was like a dating show, and he had to date all
Travis
these.
was on a dating show.
Are you joking?
Oh
It was
God.
like, that's how I first found out who he was. And it was like, oh, I'm looking for love. And here's it's basically like The Bachelor. Here's all the chicks, and I want to find the right one. So he ended up picking the one. She's on Love Island, and she's made her own name for reality, but they had a relationship for a bit. And she looks way crazy different than she did back then. I guess both are good ways, just different. And then I know about them because him and his brother was on there a lot. And then they did another reality show with the two of them, because I think his brother's married with kids, but they did something else recently. And I was like, man, this guy again. And then, of course, they played in the Super Bowl, I think, against each other.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was like God, do not come for us for sports news, people, but they played in the Super Bowl, one team against the other. They were both on opposing teams.
Yeah.
The mom was there.
This past Super Bowl.
Yeah. So obviously the mom was happy and disappointed. It's just like a weird thing because you're happy for yourself, but not happy because your brother's disappointed. So it was like this weird family thing, but they're close. Anyway, that's how I know who he is. I do not watch football. I watch it once in a while when I'm forced to.
Girl, same.
Look, if I'm going to pick
real.
for team, it's going to be any New York team. I tell my husband this all the time. I don't care that we have two teams for basketball, for baseball, for football. I am a New Yorker through, and I will pick a New York team over anything. And he says, I don't have loyalty. And I said, I'm loyal to New York and then your teams. So his team is the Detroit Lions, which, you know what? I'm sorry if you're a Detroit Lion fan, because we are in New York and we have the Jets. And if you know anything about the Jets, it is awful. And there's a guy named Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you know him, man, if you follow football.
No.
He got everyone's hopes up. He literally ran out into the field. He got hurt. He hurt his Achilles. Guy's out for the whole season already. It was like the biggest prop up for the biggest letdown again for the Jets fans. So the Lions are familiar with that. So those are the teams. I have terrible teams. The Giants are the Giants.
All right. I'd like
Taylor. I'm glad she's not with that other guy though. That other guy was like sleazeball singer. Max.
I was so happy when they broke up.
There's a rumor that they have a song coming out. And I'm like, I didn't even know who he was until you, Taylor. Like, Taylor, you're too good.
Yeah, she needs somebody at her level. Not that, by the way, I think that Travis Kelce is just as big as she is either. You just because you won a Super Bowl.
I'm gonna tell you what okay, you can cut this out, and people, I will never put this on social media. You have to listen to my podcast to hear this. I think Taylor needs a black man. I think Taylor needs to get rid of those sweet looking white boys that fit the mold of what she thinks she likes.
I think the underline here is man. I think she needs a man.
She's a man.
And listen to the people
but
who
I
are
think
listening.
I say black,
your age doesn't define you or make you a man.
But I say black, but I don't mean like a black man, a black person, but I mean someone different, ethnicity wise, culture wise, like someone else. Go out of your comfort zone with that, because clearly it ain't working out for you, bro. It's not working out for you. And sometimes I think opposites attract. And what I was dating and what I was thinking that I was going to be with, is different than what I ended up with. Thank God. But sometimes you just need to get out of that zone if you're always stuck in the same rut. So when
Gosh,
I
that's
say
so
date a
funny.
black man, date outside of your
Realm, your world.
lily white world. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm
Pathetic.
gonna say this is that, and I'm with you.
And we're not clipping that, man.
We're so not clipping it. We may not clip it for social though. We'll
That's
see.
what I mean.
I will say that I recently started dating someone who's completely out of my realm of people that I would normally date.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to stick to a lot of extremely professional men who either run their own companies or like VPs and being groomed to run big companies.
Attracted to the ambition.
I'm very attracted to the ambition, or they're consultants, or anyways, or like engineers, doctors. Those are the kind of men that I've been known to date heavily. I shouldn't say doctors. I've never dated a doctor, but a lot of engineers and a lot of CEOs or grooming CEOs. And I'm recently dating someone who isn't at that caliber. And it's so freeing. And I didn't realize how freeing it would be.
Freeing in what way? What?
It makes me take a step back completely from my business. One, he has no social media. None. Not even LinkedIn.
And does he listen to podcasts?
Yeah,
because
he listens to ours.
Oh, hi.
And mine, obviously. Mostly because when I launched, we had just started talking and he was like, wait, what do you do? So I told him, and I've known this person for a while. Like, it wasn't like a random person, you guys. Like, he's been in my world.
Don't tell him that we talked. Don't tell him we talked about him. See if he's really listening to the podcast.
Oh, of course not. I'm not going to tell him. It's ridiculous. Now he's being tested. But he didn't know about podcasts. Like he had heard about podcasts, but he hadn't really been listening. And he was all actually listening because football season was about to kick off. And I was recommending some football podcasts to him. And listen, if you're listening, I didn't know those were good ones. I just Googled them.
It's called research on your boo.
I'm allowed to completely step out of this spotlight that I'm creating for myself to be in the darkness a little bit with him. And we talk about my work because he's very interested in what I do as a person who is going to be with me should be. But in the sense that, girl, you and I both know this, we're both going to make it big. And we're both going to have our own show. And one of the things Joe Rogan does with his wife is he doesn't go to the restaurant with her.
Why?
Because he doesn't want her being in the spotlight. He's protecting her.
I don't blame him.
Because he doesn't want that lashback. He wants her to have a private life. He wants that life private.
To be honest, I don't care how I make it and how out there I am. I do not put my kid out there. I do not want my husband out there.
No,
I don't. I'm the one that asked for this. I'm the one that asked for this. Come at me. Don't attack my family. Don't take pictures of my family.
If you follow us on Instagram, like, you will see that Mira and I don't even tag friends.
No.
In our Instagrams. Like, we'll tag each other because we both know that we want to be in the spotlight. But we won't tag. If I'm out with my girlfriends, I don't tag them.
Well, I have a personal
stories, nothing, because it's their personal lives, and I don't want to. Just because I'm showing off pieces of my life doesn't mean that they want to show off pieces of theirs. Or it's very rare that I will even do cheersing of drinks with girlfriends. Yeah, so this part is very freeing for me because it feels like I'm taking a complete step back from this world, and it's so nice. And if he's still with me when I get it big, I like the idea that this part of my life will be very private.
There's something to be said for somebody wanting you for you, and what you have in common interest is not work related. That's why it's called work. Even if you love what you do, it's nice to have that separation. I do talk about my work with my husband once in a while and vice versa, but I don't know anything about medicine. He doesn't know anything about media. We have other interests. We have the same morals and values. We have the same very different ideas of things sometimes with our kid, but we have a life together that we're talking about things that are not work related. The work is how it affects our time with each other and their kid. I think it's actually pretty healthy. I think longevity wise, I see it forever. Thankfully, we've been together 12 years. So hopefully it's another, I don't even know how old I am, so I can't say how long, but like the rest of it, it would be nice, but it's work. And if actual work doesn't interfere as much, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of work, let's talk about Sia real quick. So she came out saying when she got divorced, Sia.
Oh yeah, Sia. Okay, go on.
Sia is a singer and a songwriter, and she's super popular in the music world. She started having her own albums. I think maybe about almost less than 10 years ago. She's been out in for our stuff about 10 years, but she's been writing and behind the scenes and had made a very lucrative career with her writing skills. And she's written for Rihanna and like a bunch of like big artists. Anyway, so she came out recently saying after her divorce, she became severely depressed for 3 years. Like 3 years. And it took me aback because she said she was in bed for 3 years. And
Yeah.
so her work, I think, and I actually think, so I think she's from Australia, but I don't know what he does. Let me look up and see what he does.
I don't think I've ever related more to an article as I have like in this very moment.
First of all, I thought she was a lesbian. I really, truly, really did. Because a friend of mine who's in the music industry, she's a big les. Like when she first came out with her thing, because they had hung out with her and met her and stuff.
Maybe
Like,
she's
hey,
not a
whatever.
lesbian. Maybe she just is bi. I mean, or she was, or it was an off. An off.
Oh, I don't
Listen,
care.
there are times that men irritate me, and I'm like,
I mean, you
today's
do
the
whatever you
day.
want. Listen, CEO, whoever else, you do you. Whatever is floating your
Good for
boat.
her. I don't think I've ever related more to those words. One, divorce in and of itself is extremely draining.
Yeah.
Extremely draining. And anybody who has gone through it will tell you that it takes so much of a toll on your mental health, your physical health. And when your mental health is under fire like that, your physical, you literally staying in bed for 3 days is not shocking to me, or staying in bed for 3 years is not shocking to me. What did they have an abusive? This sounds horrible, but did they have an abusive relationship? Do we know?
I didn't deal really into it. I don't even know what he does, but his name sounded really familiar, to be honest. But work could probably have been affected. And maybe he's in her work world. Who knows? People who work together. Look at all the celebrity breakups in 2023. Like when you're working and you have your partner that works in the same field, it is very hard because you know the
Mhm.
same people. You're in the same parties. Your lives, your personal life and your work life is intertwined. And we just talked about this. It's nice to have it separated. So sometimes when people who are of celebrity status get married to no names, it actually seems to work out a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
So
my
you
husband
need to
is a
find a
celebrity,
balance,
but
right? You need to find a balance. That's where the balance lies, is when you, I don't know. I think that like when you decide that you want to keep that part of you separate, or you don't date somebody in your realm, it really, or in that similar world as you, that's where the balance is created. And I think this is why, like I said earlier, I feel a little more at peace in my world. One, yeah, I feel like my heart breaks for her knowing that she was in bed for 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
And she
truthfully,
had, yeah, and she had pockets of darkness where she said that she wrote her feelings, which became songs eventually, or pieces of songs. And she had a creative outlet and something she loved. But 3 years, I think I just really didn't think about it because you've spent so much time with a person, dedicated your life to a person, committed to that person, and then you're out of it. And people expect you to bounce back in 6, 8 months. And it's so unrealistic. It's like gaining weight and losing weight. It didn't take you 2 days to gain that weight, honey. You
no,
gain that weight from a while. So it's not going to take you 2 days to lose it.
no.
It's the same thing. This is a relationship that you're breaking away from. And
Mhm.
that could take, even if you're quote unquote over it in 3 years, you're really never over it because it's
And listen,
affected
this
your life
isn't
so
just
much.
about like breakups too, right? Like we're just because you bounce, like there's several people I won't, and I can't testify as to who in my head right now as to who, but there are some people who bounce back within the next couple of months and are seeing somebody else and everything is fine. The other thing too is that us bouncing back can't be a norm in society anymore. Stop asking mamas to bounce back after having a baby. Stop asking
Yeah.
somebody to bounce back after a breakup. This bounce back
People have
idea
their,
doesn't happen.
yeah, let
Emotions,
people have
bodies,
their
they need time to
emotions.
heal.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's hard when look at Britney and Sam, right? Britney Spears,
Oh
she's so
yeah.
in the spotlight without even doing anything. Sam was like well, I don't want to say a nobody because he was an actor that we don't know anything about. They
You
met on
can't
the,
say actor and then just be like actor.
he didn't really. He did one thing and then he did her music video and that's his life being her husband. I could see why he wanted to break away from it. Career was a big part of it. Maybe he feels like he's having a lot of opportunities now and he didn't want to be under her coattails, which is terrible because love is love. But do you know Tracy Tudor from Million Dollar Listing? It's a Bravo show. So she's
She
gorgeous. She
sounds
has,
familiar, and the show
yeah,
sounds familiar.
It's the $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. It's on E Entertainment or I think Bravo or something like that. Basically the NBC properties. And her and a bunch of other realtors sell things that are like $20 million, $30 million, $5 million, whatever. And she's like a top realtor. She was married to this guy. He was a contractor. They had kids. And I remember watching an episode of this, and he was sitting across from her at lunch. And I'll never forget this. I think his name was Jason. And he started asking her about her daughter's age. And she was like, no, whatever her name was, she was 3 when that happened. And she's 5 now. And the guy was like, no, she's not. You don't even know your kid's age. And basically made her really doubt herself. And then she was like, I know how old my daughter is. I know. And then he was like, I'm just making sure because you're never around. Like, it was so messed up. And he deliberately did that at that lunch to, 1, hurt her. 2, he clearly had issues with her. And 3, it was on camera. You waited for it to be on camera. So I was like, this relationship's not going to last. And it didn't. And they got divorced. And she had this whole thing where she was looking for a house, did her own thing. And she started dating her trainer. And he's a celebrity trainer-ish. He just started becoming big, started building his brand. A lot of his Instagram and stuff is with them working out, her and him. The guy is, don't get me wrong, every celebrity trainer, you're gorgeous. You could probably be a celebrity yourself. You're working out, you're working with all these people, you're in their world. But she put him on the map. She made him a person I would know. And now they're broken up. They were together for 3.5 years, bought a house, lived together. The kids were close to him. Her whole life changed with him. And yeah. So it's hard when you mix that work relationship or you're using somebody as a come up, because when you're together, you don't see it. But when you have to break apart, you realize who is carrying the relationship or who is carrying that part of your life, which is the success part. And those things come into question.
Yeah.
So
heavily into question.
Yeah. I was watching Suits the other day.
Oh my God. I'm in the middle of Suits right now. Oh my God. How does this happen?
I don't know. Wait,
girl,
what season?
Did I tell you I was watching Suits?
No.
I'm watching Suits, rewatching Suits right now.
Okay, I've never watched it to begin with, so it's new to me, but maybe I'm in like season 4 or 5. But there was an episode where one of the lawyer's sisters have to get divorced. And the main character...
sister?
Yeah, so the main character, Harvey, ends up helping her divorce. And because allegedly her ex-husband gave up his medical career for her, his potential medical career. Potential. He didn't even get into school. She said she would give him half her company if he supported her in passing, basically when they were dating or whatever. And that was it. He wanted half, but I think she had offered him 20%. And he was like, I took care of your life and your kids. And that was like, this is what every woman saying this. And it would be different if a woman was saying it, but he's saying it. So you're like villainizing him. And he did cheat on her, but you're villainizing him and he did raise your kids.
Okay. So this goes back to, remember I said in a previous episode, I said, if you gave up your life, your body for your career, so your man could be famous and have his career, you deserve a cushy divorce. He still deserves a cushy divorce. Play devil's advocate and say, no, absolutely not. But hold on. Have you finished that episode?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember, because it's been a while since I've seen that episode. I'm not at that point yet. But doesn't he say, don't we find out at one point that he never actually got into med school?
Yeah. Yeah. But he could have. Cool. How many people get into med school in their first try? That's what he said. But there was a potential. But the thing is, they did have a prenup, I think, right? Yeah, I think the prenup was 20% and he was like not into it because she wanted to walk away. So he wanted to enforce that verbal contract. Either way, he ended up with 25% of her company, which is not chump change, but you don't want to give up 20% of your company to someone that you're disliking or not wanting to be with right now. But at the same time, you wouldn't have that company if you didn't have the time to build it without that person, male or female. So
okay, so coming from a girl who built her company during the time that she was married, had my husband tried to come after it, I would have just gladly given it to him. It was in debt at the time and I left it that way purely because had he tried to come after it during our divorce proceedings, I was like, sure, you can have it. You're not that company. One, my company is nothing without me. I'm the brains of the operation and you can't do what I do. And hold on. And before I get up too high on my high horse here, there are people who can do what I do. My ex-husband can't do what I do. Okay.
If you had a company where you had offices and you built something and you had a product and it was like the operations were going and you were like the head of it and like overseeing, people think they can step in and just run it or have the people and everything in place. And they can't. because
No,
you are
you
the
really
driving force
can't.
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, this guy just wanted 25%. But the thing is, think about it, 25%. And you're like, oh, but I'm still running this and 25% of my profit goes to my ex. But at the same time,
25% is so much easier. And I think Harvey does say to her when he tells her to sign
oh
on the
yeah,
25%, he
it's not
says,
about that. It's about your kids.
yeah, let's end this now. It isn't about it. This is pain. You're just dragging on the pain or something.
This is what Kevin Costner's lawyer should say to him. We should probably send his lawyer that episode.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I was in that situation, I would say to my husband, ex-husband, whatever, I'll give you 25% of its worth as of today, and I will pay it out as time goes on. So whatever my company, because I would be damned, I will make that company go crazy great, and I would just pay you out that amount, that value, so you can be done. So whether that's $10 million, I'll pay you your $10 million, but I don't want to deal with you. I don't want you to have a say in my company. I don't want to have you a voting right in my company.
So I don't know how it works down in the States, but should that have happened with me, it would have been a full payout. The money has to be transferred on the day of the papers being signed.
All right. The breakups, the celebrity breakups, guys, this year. We never even talked about Ariana Grande and her breakup.
Because I don't like her. That's why we
Ew,
didn't talk about
I
her.
don't really love her stuff either, but
I would like her a little bit more if she wasn't all about cultural appropriation. One day she decides she's Black. The next day she decides she's Asian. One day, then, girl, you're Italian. Follow your roots.
first of all, I didn't even know she did all that. I just don't care. I just think she's annoying, but I feel sad that she got married to this guy because why'd you get married to him? Why, she's in love with being in love. It's crazy to me. But we didn't talk about her, but it's like crazy how the alleged rumor, that she divorced him or is divorcing her husband of less than a year because there's a couple that they hung out with. You know this? So one of the things that bothered me about Ariana Grande, and it was news, and then all of a sudden people don't talk about it anymore. So she has great publicists, but she separated from her husband, who was a real estate person, up and coming, and she's in the new movie Wicked. If Wicked, you love it. Yeah, so she's Glinda, the Good Witch. Her co-star, his name is Ethan Slater, and they got along with them great. Him and his wife, they just had a baby while he was filming this. It was like all copacetic, and then all of a sudden he breaks up with his wife with the new baby, and she breaks up with her man and her husband, and they are together. So everyone's calling Ariana a homewrecker, kind of, because she's always been, I think she is the person that wants to be in love, wants to have a family, wants to do all these things, but I think there's an immaturity level, and she wants, and her career is growing up, right? So I think
she's still young too, right? Is she what, 32 or?
I don't know how old she is, but 32 seems about correct. I don't know. But basically, she's with that co-star of hers. I don't know if they're still together at this point, but this happened back in July. So it wasn't that far away from now. And I think he has a 6-month-old or something like that. So yeah.
So she's done with him. Oh no, that's the girl she's currently with, who has a 6-month-old.
So the couples would hang out all the time during the filming and stuff. But yeah.
Ooh, see, that's a little too close for home for my comfort.
Yeah.
Does this go back to the nanny thing, Mira?
I don't know. I think there's a set of girls that really like guys in a relationship because they like what they see. And I don't think it's that they want to break it, but they want to feel important that they could. And they feel like if they're in that position of that person that seems so happy, that they will have that happiness. Like they want to take that happiness away from them. And I think it obviously doesn't work that way.
Who are that's a little immature, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did not say she was mature. I don't know her.
We don't know. Okay. Ooh, that's a little close for comfort to me. We don't know what happened. And
we don't know what happened.
And it does, let's not go back here. And I'm not trying to protect her, but it does take two. He had to make a conscious decision to leave his.
He was SpongeBob in SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical.
Gross. Gross. Just gross. I don't even know how to describe it any other way.
Oh no, he married his high school sweetheart.
Okay, that's cute. I love when high school.
It's not cute. Then he knocked her up, had a baby, but then left her after the baby.
Okay, so I don't care about Ariana Grande and her mess going on. You know what was the hardest breakup for me, and it still hurts me to this day?
What?
Sofia Vergara.
Oh my God, that's not even that long ago. That just happened. Her and Joe Manganiello. Sofia, that I remember, is that first of all, she has a son. Mm-hmm. She has a son. I know this because clearly she's very open with him. When she started on the come up. She would bring him to events. His best friend actually was in a relationship with someone that I know. Sophia is allegedly a super great woman and awesome person, and she'll give you tit for tat, but genuinely good soul, allegedly. And Joe, first of all, she's way richer than him.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about the money. Yeah, she's three,
Oh,
4 times richer
yeah.
than him.
Yeah.
But Joe
She's
definitely,
not just
I
an
think,
actress.
no, she's not just an actress, but she's also been around for a lot. Listen, Sophia's been a staple for a long time. But if the reason is that he wanted a kid, when they first got together, I don't disbelieve that, because I remember when they were first getting together and they were about to get married, there was this whole thing about she was with her ex, which is not her kid's dad, but she was with somebody else for like over a decade. And she had frozen her eggs with his. So you have to do either frozen eggs by itself, or you do embryos, which is fertilized eggs, which has a better chance of survival. And she did that with her ex. And there was a battle, a legal battle at the time, because she wanted those eggs. And he was like, no, there's a mine too.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it ended
and
up
Joe
being
really
resolved.
protected her during that time, right? Because the
What was
paparazzi and everybody was coming after her, and especially in public, they were getting really close. And Joe used to be a bouncer, so he used to go with her to those court proceedings to make sure
But
she
would
was
he-
okay.
into the oh really?
Yeah, because there's videos and footage of them as he's like escorting her out and blocking the camera so that she could get to her car without being hounded by the paparazzi. It was one of the things Joe used to be a bouncer, and he used to protect her. And there's statements that he has made online being like, they get too close to her sometimes, and it gets really dangerous. I don't like it. He says it more eloquently than I'm saying it, but yeah, he protected her during the time that she was going through which, listen, for a girl who protection is a very big thing in my world, I found that extremely noble of him, especially when he didn't really have to. But yeah, that was some of the things that went down at the beginning of their
But
relationship.
he knew that she couldn't have kids. She's a lot older than him. Her
Mhm.
eggs were the only option. And even if, I don't know what happened with the eggs, but even if they were to, let's say, split those eggs or get those eggs, if you brought a child from those eggs in, this is still not Joe's child. It's still this other person who was her ex's child. Then you're dealing with that. So now the question would be, now, is it adoption, or is he wanting to do a surrogate without her eggs and have his own baby? Those are all conversations now for celebrities, but how old is she? She's
50 something.
because she was a young mom. I think she was like not even 20 years old when she gave birth.
She was she was a baby.
Wow.
Hold on, let's see. She's 51. I was right.
And he's what, 40 something?
Joe is 46. Okay, so correction. There's not much of a age gap between the two of them.
Here it is. She was with somebody, Nick Loeb. So he's an entrepreneur. And I guess after getting engaged, they did in vitro fertilization to create embryos. They had 2 embryos that they could have a child via a surrogate. They end up freezing the embryos. They never used them. Okay. And then there was, after the separation, there was a years-long battle over the custody of these frozen embryos. And without her permission, he wanted to bring them to term, and even gave the embryos names in the court paper. So I guess he really wanted them. But why? You're a dude. You can easily go and stick it in somewhere and get a child yourself. The eggs are what's harder. But anyway, she ended up stopping him from using the embryos, and the judge ruled in her favor. And he was permanently blocked from bringing the embryos to term without her consent. Thank God. Why would he want her baby after all that? So weird. But I guess she wasn't able to get those eggs either.
Power. He's able then to hold a little bit of power over her. And what mother wants her? Come on. If you had eggs out in the world and your ex had used them, no mother wants that. You're not cold-hearted enough to decide that you're not going to have be in this child's life. That's still your own flesh and blood. I don't. So sad. But that was the breakup that hurt me. Maybe because I don't know. I love them both.
You wanted them to work out.
I did. I really did. Really did.
I think sometimes there's something to be said for people wanting to have that next step in life, even if they don't think that they do. It does come to, you're faced with your humanity, you're faced with your lifespan is short, and now what's next? What's my given to this world? And usually most people say it's children. You give to children so they can give to the world and vice versa. And that's what you did. That's right. Unless you're doing something meaningful like an Oprah or something. I don't know.
Man, she just can't catch a break on her hits, eh? From socials.
Who?
Oprah.
Oprah? Yeah. She's going to bed. She's going to bed just fine.
Yeah, in a very comfy bed. Egyptian cotton sheets.
Yeah, and people giving her breakfast in the morning. Give me a break. I don't feel nothing for her. I love Oprah. I'll judge her all day long. That's our right. She's a celebrity, but I always think she does things with good intentions because there's literally no reason not to for her. It might be misconstrued when things are put out because everything can be misconstrued in a certain way based on how you say things and how you do things. But she's only human. At least she's trying. What did Jeff Bezos do for Hawaii? What did Mark Zuckerberg do for Hawaii? What did any of these billionaires do for Hawaii? I'm just saying.
Well, the least they could have done was donated.
The least they could have done. Yeah, but she's doing more than that. Like it or not. Okay. If she did, she's damned if she do, she's damned if she don't. If she didn't donate or didn't put herself in there, people would come out and say, you have property there. You are always there. Why aren't you contributing back to the economy there?
Listen, no, anything we
There's no good place to be here.
No.
Yeah.
Not the note I want to end it on, but let's go back. Reminder. Yeah. Why don't you remind them that we're back on next week on Monday?
Oop. Yeah, guys. I know you love this conversation. We love talking to you. So we're coming back next week, every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So make sure you tune in, you hit the follow button so you can not miss the episode. We love for you to follow and subscribe and hit us up and let us know what you find interesting, what you want us to talk about. And of course, just share it with other people.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll see you Monday.
All right. Bye, guys.